Marvel Universe will always have an undeniable legacy, and we truly appreciate them for it. To honor the same legacy, here are the top 25 most rewatched Marvel movie scenes. Kicking things off is an epic encounter between the two strongest Avengers. Yeah, there's a lot of discourse regarding who'd actually win between the Hulk and Thor, but all I can say is that friends from work don't usually fight like this. It starts off with the Hulk dominating the God of Thunder, but Thor's no pushover, as he manages to get back at the angry green giant with some neat moves of his own.
I know you're in there, Banner. I'll get you out.
The money shot is obviously the lightning blast Thor generates without having to rely on Mjolnir, but sadly, Taika Waititi chose pointless comedy over a decisive winner. I'm not going to talk about the plot hole because the action in this scene does make up for it to some degree. Hulk may not have won fair and square, but viewers keep coming back to this scene time and time again. Well, that can actually be said for any fight between these two. The OG battle between them from the Avengers actually has close to 500 million views on YouTube just on one clip. So yeah, we definitely deserve a rematch.
That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
Like, what's up, danger? Like, what's up, danger?
Up next is Miles Morales in his most beautifully shot moment from his intro film. Yeah.
Mom always asking where did I go wrong?
Took you long
What's
enough.
up, danger?
That's how you do a jump that's supposed to symbolize the main character accepting his new role as a hero. Miles isn't an outright hero from the get-go, but once he witnesses Spider-Man's death, it all changes for him. Into the Spider-Verse was supposed to announce him on the big stage, and they did it perfectly. Getting used to Spidey powers isn't easy, as Tobey Maguire evidently showed us in the OG flick, but the animators did a splendid job of hyping up this particular jump. The background score elevates the sequence, and it's such a catchy tune that you want to watch the scene over and over again. Of course, the flow of the sequence is matched well enough with the pace, which is what makes it top class in the first place. All that slow motion wasn't gratuitous either. Everything served a purpose, and that's when you know you're dealing with a quality crew.
Get the hell out of my universe!
Let's take a look at something rather disturbing now. It's not because of Wanda taking down the fake Illuminati, but rather because of how easily she does it despite them supposedly being the strongest of their universe. I still don't get the logic of how she can overpower someone like a Captain Marvel or even be Professor X at Mind Games. But I can't deny the fact that I've watched this sequence an unhealthy number of times. Whether it's watching the dumbest man in the universe getting ripped to literal shreds or even the opening kill of Black Bolt.
I could do this all day.
Wanda strikes fear into everyone's hearts and creates a moment that goes viral in our minds as well as social media algorithms. I still stand by the fact that they made Wanda ridiculously overpowered as a villain, but the scene is amazing and does exactly what it's supposed to do, albeit at the cost of Reed Richards' intelligence. Yeah, I don't think John Krasinski can ever do a Marvel movie again after the amount of online roasting he had to face for exposing Black Bolt's main power right off the bat. In at number 22 is a legend who will always be respected. Vampires better beware of the vampire, because if he's out to get you, he ain't gonna be playing around. Blade was the first live-action success for any Marvel project despite being rated R, so he pretty much cemented his legendary status all the way back in 1998. What really stands out though is how even 27 years after this film's release, this opening sequence is still getting repeat viewers. That club scene was gory perfection, catered to the masses, and the payoff was quite significant. We're introduced to the main character, we can see his powers and skills, but most importantly, we learn that he's a man of extreme sass. I don't think the newer kids will ever understand how cool this was to the general public during that era. Wesley Snipes took the cake with his performance, and just as he reminded us in Deadpool and Wolverine, there can only be one Blade, and it's him.
I'm gonna rip your fucking head off!
Speaking of Deadpool and Wolverine, here they are. Well, it's actually only Deadpool as he brings NSYNC back to relevance. Those TVA agents were pretty much like cattle being sent to the slaughter, because there was no way they were going to capture somebody like Wade Wilson without any bloodshed. I was genuinely considering the fight with the Deadpool corpse up first, because he had Wolverine too, but then I saw the views on the YouTube clip and decided to go with the numbers for this one. We all know that Ryan Reynolds liked to showcase extreme violence against catchy background tracks, so this was like the perfect recipe for success. TikTok got flooded with clips of this sequence as well as the track itself, so I hope Justin Timberlake and the rest of NSYNC at least treated Reynolds to lunch or something in return for his virality. I mean, even the cops don't know who Timberlake is anymore, although that's just poor pop culture knowledge.
If you hadn't been bit, your Peter Parker would have lived. Instead, he died.
Here's Miles Morales again in a much more popular moment. One thing he importantly proves in this sequence though is that our boy is not a mistake. While facing off against Miguel O'Hara, Miles had a lot to overcome. And I'm not just talking about Spider-Man 2099's crazy powers. He also had to deal with the whole idea that he was never supposed to be here in the first place. It's true that the Spider-Man who lost his life in order to protect Miles should have still been alive. That doesn't give anyone the excuse to say such hurtful things to a boy who unknowingly got caught up in a huge mess. Yeah, Miguel O'Hara can farm as much aura as he wants, but it ain't changing the fact that he was wrong for being so dismissive of our hero. Luckily, Miles fights back and wins, which is exactly what got the viewers coming back for more. It's such a popular moment that people are still waiting to see how it all unfolds in the next film.
I was bitten by a radioactive spider. I'm pretty sure you know the rest, sir.
In at 19 is a different kind of squad. There's also a new name for this new team as they go by the Annihilators of the Galaxy. Yeah, this does sound more like a villain squad, but it's essentially a rebranding of the Guardians after their core squad moves on to other things. Well, maybe Drax is here too, but he's probably just standing so incredibly still that we can't see him. On a serious note, this is a new gen Guardian squad with Rocket Raccoon as the leader. I know it may seem like something unknown, but this clip has more views than anything else from James Gunn's final MCU flick. It's like a new beginning with all those new members, and the theme song is on point too, because it's the same song that started off the Guardians of the Galaxy with Peter Quill's immaculate intro. I guess we all love emotional tributes, don't we? It's time for Natasha Romanoff to take over now. She gets a stellar introduction, although she does have a considerable amount of screen time in the movie by the time we get to this scene. What I meant to say was that we got to see her as the Black Widow properly for the first time here. The action choreography is on point, and Scarlett Johansson wastes no time in letting us know too that she is a badass. The fight happens right after a rather risky situation for Happy, because our boy could have easily crashed the car while he was, distracted. Even here, while Natasha takes down endless goons, Happy finds himself struggling against one dude. It was the right kind of balance that established comedy while also showcasing a bona fide girl boss. And yes, this was in a sequel that received a lot of criticism during its release year. Man, what happened to the MCU? We used to have such good times together. boy, we've got a pretty intense clash now. You know how they say there's always someone bigger? Well, they're not joking, because even the Hulk paled in comparison to the Abomination.
You don't deserve this power.
I know this was the lowest grossing MCU flick before the Marvels came along, but wow, they sure as heck don't make fights like this anymore. At first, all of us were wondering how Bruce Banner was going to be such an overpowered opponent. But luckily, it all ended on a triumphant note, because the writers were never going to let the main character lose. Heck, they even showed us the power of love thanks to Betty's interference. Even if we don't consider the outcome, the general display of action and visual effects were freaking epic. This was CGI during its peak era, and we'd love to go back to this quality if the production committee start approving better budgets. Anyway, all hail the angry green giant. Set your sights on this masterpiece at number 16. Michael Jackson's got nothing on these dance moves. And we just can't get enough of them either. Bully Maguire is the ultimate meme character, and he'll remain that way until the end of time. It's such an unserious series of events, but they're so memorable that we still use the clip for reels and TikToks. Heck, he's so influential that little kids are copying his moves too. They even did a mashup with the Wednesday dance. Do you understand how much of an impact you have to make for such things to happen? Yeah, he's the real internet star, and nobody can change my mind on that.
Had to ask.
This is the best I can do.
We must never stop talking about the true dangers of AI. Just look at Ultron as your prime example. This dude was going to exterminate humanity, but thankfully the Avengers came together to beat him in an epic final encounter. It's basically them against an army, and it's also the last time all the original Avengers fought together. Yeah. That's a fact which hit me quite hard, but let's move on to the virality of this moment. Especially when everyone combines to melt down Ultron's vibranium form. Of course, there's also the part where Iron Man and Thor combine to blow up Sokovia. Pretty solid stuff overall. Peter Parker is in at number 14 to say no to bullies. The OG Spider-Man will always remain my official introduction to Marvel movies, and I'm glad I hold myself to such high standards. The fight against Flash Thompson was extremely viral even back in 2002. That time, it wasn't about sharing stuff on Instagram, but actually talking about it in person and even enacting it as parodies. It's such a rewatchable scene, mainly because of how it captures the goofiness of 2000s college kids. Well, I think these guys are supposed to be more of a high school students than college kids, but you get what I mean.
I wouldn't want to fight me neither. Kick his ass, man.
Hey, it's back-to-back Spidey entries for us now. It's when an unshakable will meets an unforgettable meme face. Yes, the train sequence is a highlight from the Raimi trilogy for a lot of great cinematic reasons. However, what truly made it a rewatchable gem was Tobey Maguire's face when he put everything he had into trying to stop the train. Man, I don't know how you can make such a face like that when you're acting, so I personally believe the dude actually needed to use the restroom when the scene was being shot. If that does turn out to be true, Tobey Maguire should have gotten an Oscar just for effort alone. Yes, this was a difficult fight to watch because we all love both of these characters so much. Tony Stark and Steve Rogers were so popular they could have made a Disney Plus show with the both of them as buddy cops or something, and it would have broken all of Netflix's streaming records in existence. Sadly, they had to get into an ugly fight because Steve's best friend ended Tony's parents.
He killed me.
It's literally a case of family versus friend, and at the end of it all, the writers chose to let Captain America take the spoils due to the movie title having his name in it. Lots of people still watch the fight to determine who would have actually won had it not been for plot armor. This is a battle with insane traction. Just look at all the views it gets on YouTube and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The Hulkbuster was a suit we all wanted to see, and there was no better way to introduce it other than in a fight against the angry green giant himself.
Come on, Bruce, you gotta work with me.
It had all the makings of a legendary battle, and it followed through. Honestly, this was a much better sequel than the Battle of Sokovia, especially in terms of how rewatchable it was. I think that alone should be enough to establish how iconic it is.
It didn't make it better. It took me a long time to...
It's only right to include this at number 9 because it's the scene that got the movies back into business. After dealing with no outside activity for so long, it was quite hard to get people back into cinema halls. So yeah, the team at Sony decided to unite all 3 Spider-Men and give us all the greatest kind of fan service known to humankind. All of us wanted this to happen so badly, and it did happen, so we got the perfect payoff. Naturally, this was marketed accordingly too, despite Kevin Feige's claims that they tried their best to keep it a secret particular moment, and the love hasn't died down either, because even I keep going back to it. Well, look what we have here. All that foreshadowing from Age of Ultron finally came through, as Captain America becomes Captain Thunder with the help of Mjolnir. It's a vital moment because Thor was getting violated beyond redemption by Thanos. Luckily, Captain America came to the rescue and ensured the God of Thunder would go on to star in yet another movie, although I can't really say that was a good thing now, was it? Anyway, it was great to see Steve Rogers dominating the Mad Titan for as long as he did, because such sights are quite rare. Like, we knew he was never going to win, but whatever they did show us was satisfying enough. The shield toss into the ricochet hammer shot was ridiculously fire, and it makes me wonder if Steve is actually better suited to use Mjolnir in fights than Thor. Man's on a roll too with back-to-back entries. Number 5 brings a pretty popular scene, not just in general, but specifically for the TV region. Yes, this one's always a top contender because it's Chris Hemsworth's greatest moment on the big screen. He doesn't even need Mjolnir, so Cap can keep it in the previous listing itself. The Wakanda entry simply cannot be topped, and I've explained the reasons for that in so many different entries over the course of this channel's existence. It's also a highly rewatched clip, because I guess the audience loves a dude who can turn the tide of a final battle all by himself. I just know Thor must have been like, yeah, I'm back, when he appeared on the battle zone, and that hammer smash was all he needed to tell everyone that he's got it under control. It's peak for sure, and the sense of euphoria it awakens simply can't be put into words. Okay, it's time to bring out those tissues, because this is a tearjerker. After all, it's the final line from the greatest man of the MCU. Just like the first time he said, "I am Iron Man" in entry number 8, Tony Stark dominates the entire moment despite it being in the middle of a clash that has everyone in it. It's viral because we don't see him again after this, well, at least not in a state where he can speak. It was such a surreal moment that it overwhelmed me when I saw it in the theaters. Everyone in the hall got so emotional because they were following the same character for 11 years, and this is how he closes his character. It was absolute cinema. Like, even though it's sad, people still rewatch it so often. That in itself speaks volumes about its impact.
I just want you to know, Cap, it's impersonal!
Oh man, this scene is peak for so many reasons. Like, the memes alone can speak for the popularity of the elevator scene from the Winter Soldier. Yes, it's a badass fight sequence which helps the audience realize that Captain America is actually a lot stronger than standard humans. Yes, it's a brilliantly directed scene with great action choreography as well, but the reason it's so popular is because of the endless memes it generated. The most popular rendition of these memes is the type where Cap tells a dad joke which causes him to get attacked. Yeah, I'll never get tired of those. Another thing to note is that Steve Rogers farms some insane aura.
Drop the shield, put your hands in the air!
Just like his entrance in Infinity War, asking if anyone wants to get out before a battle of multiple trained combatants against one super soldier only shows that the super soldier knows he's gonna win.
I'm always angry.
In at number 2 is the Hulk one-shotting a freaking Leviathan. It's literally like One Punch Man, but the angry version. There's so much happening in so little time, but we as the audience are still able to register all of it thanks to how detailed this scene is. It starts off on a funny note as Bruce Banner hilariously comes along in a little scooter, but the moment he tells us his secret about being angry all the time, things went from 0 to 100 real quick. Scenes like this one would help us understand the power levels of our beloved characters. So I'm still baffled by how much they had to nerf our boy just to make She-Hulk feel better about herself. Anyway, this is my favourite Hulk transformation personally, and I think I speak for everyone when I say that we needed this version of the character in Infinity War and Endgame. Well, I guess we shouldn't be too greedy, hey?
Hold on!
Do whatever you want. There's no way I'm compromising on what made the MCU what it is today. The OG remains unbeaten because if it weren't for Robert Downey Jr.'s impeccable portrayal of Tony Stark in the MCU's first movie, we would never have gotten the greatness that followed after it all the way until Endgame. This was the first Iron Man suit that matched the popular visual identity of the character, and it did a heck of a job during its first run. Everything feels perfect here because the staff took their time to highlight each and every aspect of the suit. Whether he's flying or launching his lasers or walking away from a tank like a total boss, everything came together to give us the peak capabilities of what was at the time just an idea. Man, it was an incomparable experience, and I'd give anything to watch it again in the theaters for the first time. Yeah, I know that's a contradictory statement, but my point stands. Nothing beats nostalgia. Hope you like this video. Please subscribe to the TV Regent, and here's another video that I know you're going to enjoy.